everyone, this is Marika and I welcome you all to this new session of Nursing Management with me. In our previous session, we have discussed about what is a disaster and what are the different types of disaster. In this session today, we are going to discuss about the psychological effect of disaster on different age group. But before we move on to today's topic, let us quickly recall what a disaster is. So we have seen in our earlier session that a disaster is a catastrophic event that has profound impact on the health of the people, animal, as well as other living organism. Disaster can be defined as any occurrence that causes loss of human life, brings disturbance in the ecosystem or the ecological disruption is seen. It deteriorates the health of the people, damages the health sector services, and during the time of disaster, the affected community requires assistance from outside the community. So disaster can be explained as any event that causes damages to the life of people, that damages the physical infrastructure of the environment, causes harm to animal and plant life, and the affected community cannot overcome the disaster without taking help from external resources. We also discussed about different types of disaster and what kind of effect it has on the environment as well as on the life of human beings. Moving on, today we are going to discuss about the psychological effect of disaster, and we are going to study it according to different age group. Now, why do we have to study it according to different age group? It is because every different age group will experience different psychological effect of the disaster. As we are going to discuss the effect of disaster in the different age group, we have to remember that loss of appetite and sleep disturbance are the two common type of effect that is seen in all the age groups. So along with loss of appetite and sleep disturbances, there are different types of effect that is seen on different age group. The first one is the preschooler. So we are already aware that the age group of preschooler is between 1 to 5 years. There are three common effects of disaster on preschoolers, which includes fearfulness. Of course, if a person undergoes a disaster, fearfulness is one of the common symptoms, and in preschooler it is most evident. The second effect of disaster on preschooler is nightmare, and the third one is clinging to parents. What does clinging to parents means? To be always with the parents. They do not want to be separated from their parents. The second age group is early childhood, which includes the age group between 5 to 11 years. So there are few of the effects that are seen in early childhood as well, which includes night terrors, nightmares, and fear of dark. After the child in early childhood has undergone a certain disaster, the child will have fear of darkness. The child may also experience nightmare and night terror. The second effect that can be seen in early childhood is aggressive behavior at home as well as at school. Stomach ache and headache are also the effect of disaster seen in the children at early childhood. And finally, wheezing as well as poor concentration in the studies or school are common effect of disaster. The next age group is pre-adolescence, which includes the age between 11 to 14 years. So the first effect in pre-adolescent is rebellion. This kind of behavior is developed by pre-adolescence. So what does rebellion means? The children at this particular age does not want to listen to elder people. For example, at home they may refuse to carry out certain small chores that are given to them, and at school they may not listen to their teachers or the higher authorities. In the pre-adolescence as well, stomach aches and headaches are seen as common symptoms. Loss of interest in friends as well as loss of interest in school is also one of the common effect of disaster in the pre-adolescent phase. Moving on, let us see the effect on adolescence. Adolescence includes the age group between 14 to 18 years, and some of the effects that are seen includes loss of interest in dating. So adolescence is a period where individuals are attracted towards opposite sex. But after the disaster, the psychological effect includes loss of interest in dating. Being irresponsible or delinquent behavior may also be seen in adolescent. Poor concentration is also one of the effects of disaster in adolescence. And finally, hypochondria. So what is hypochondria? We are worried about our health status, but people with hypochondria, it is a type of anxiety disorder, and people who suffer from hypochondria think that they have serious illness. So people with hypochondria are worried that they may have some serious illness or they may be developing some serious illness. Now, this hypochondria in the adolescent phase may even occur when there is no symptom at all or when there are very mild symptoms. Even in the absence of symptom also, adolescent may think that they may have some serious illness. Even the normal sensation of the body can be mistaken as a serious illness with people who suffer from hypochondria. So hypochondria is also one of the effects that is seen among adolescents. And finally, we have adulthood. In adults, distress and depression is mainly seen. They may also have intrusive memories of disaster. Flashback of upset feelings can also be experienced by an adult who have undergone a disaster. Intense distress at a reminder of the disaster event can also be seen. So when they are reminded about the occurrence, when they are reminded about the disaster, then they may have intense distress as well. Irritability and lack of interest in any pleasurable activities can be seen during adulthood. And finally, troubling dreams, insomnia, as well as poor concentration can be seen during the adulthood. Another effect seen in adult is also disaster trauma. So what is a disaster trauma? People who are affected by the disaster may have individual as well as collective trauma. The individual trauma manifests itself in stress and grief, whereas the collective trauma results in survivor cutting off their social ties with one another. Stress and grief is a normal reaction to abnormal situations, especially in times of disaster. Therefore, we see that people who have survived a disaster undergo a lot of stress as well as suffer from grief. The common element of disaster are casualties, disruption of sanitary facilities, homelessness, some degree of panic, as well as requirement of medical emergency services. People affected by such event are panic struck, they require emergency first aid, they require medical emergency services, food, clothing, shelter, as well as other basic requirement which is not available in such situation. And any community when faced with disaster have their own way of responding to the disaster. But disaster brings grief, anxiety, and anger that is caused by loss of human life as well as the damages to the property. That is it for today's session. In this session today, we have discussed a very short topic which is psychological effect of disaster on different age group. I hope you've understood the class and I'll see you all in the next session. Thank you and have a great day ahead.